My reaction action nation here with the Red Diamond segment. Happy. What's today? What is today? Happy day. Just say that. Happy day. What's going on, everybody? We're here to visit one of my surprise reactions from last year that I did not think will reach the momentum that it got, but it did. And that is my Chuck E. Cheese malfunctions. Now, I see TPM did a part 2 of it, so we're going to check this out because I find these things very interesting. Now, let's do this. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell for more notifications for me, and they will come to you. Also, let me know what you want me to react to next. And I got you found, hashtag RAN. Let's get right into this reaction video, you guys. Zingo.
If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and click
Already
the bell
subscribed,
icon to be
TPM.
notified when we upload a new video. Also, if you want to follow TPM on Twitter, you can at TPM Videos. If you're watching this video right now, you're most likely a fan.
I'll tell you guys a
of
little thing
A couple months ago,
when I'm
released
done.
a video that counted down 10 extinct Chuck E. Cheese animatronic characters. Well, you all really seem to enjoy that video, so today we'll be doing a part 2, because there's a bunch more extinct animatronic characters in the restaurants. If you haven't seen the first video, there's a card in the right-hand side right there, or a link in the description for you to check it out. Now, just to quickly recap. The Chuck E. Cheese restaurants have been around since 1977. The company filed for bankruptcy in 1984, Showbiz Pizza Place bought Pizza Time Theater, then concept unification happened by 1992, when all locations were branded as Chuck E. Cheese's. Between the bankruptcy and concept unification, it left behind many animatronic characters in Chuck E. Cheese history. But there's also some other characters who were around after concept unification that are also on their way to extinction.
I bet.
So today, we'll be taking a look at extinct Chuck E. Cheese animatronic characters, Part 2. Dolly Dimples.
Chuck E. Cheese, like he got contacts in.
The opening of the first Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater restaurant in 1977, locations began receiving a piano bar lounge that was added to a separate area in the restaurant's dining room. The very first piano bar cabaret act to open at the restaurants was Dolly Dimples, who was a singing, piano-playing blues and jazz hippopotamus. Dolly Dimples made her first appearance in 1978 at the second Pizza Time Theater location in San Jose, California. Now, when Pizza Time Theater began creating the animatronics, they used to use latex and fiberglass to create the characters' faces. Any characters created after the second restaurant in San Jose, the company began using a mixture of plywood and foam for their faces. You can see there is a difference in the appearance of Dolly Dimples from this footage here at the second restaurant, and this footage here from another restaurant later on.
Yeah, you can tell.
The first figure has much rounder features compared to her second incarnation, where the features were much sharper and jagged. The initial figure looked a lot more realistic. Now, not only was she able to move her head, hands, and arms, blink her eyes, and move her mouth, but she was created with an extra chest movement which allowed it to move up and down. During Dolly's existence in the restaurants, only 2 show tapes were ever created for her, with the first being in 1978, and then the second in 1982. In 1980, she was removed from some locations to make way for a new cabaret figure, but she was still able to be found in certain restaurants until the mid-1980s. Artie Antlers. In 1980, Pizza Time Theater thought it was time to switch up their cabaret act. So the next character to be featured was Artie Antlers. He was a soulful, classic rock, piano-playing moose who was retrofitted from the Dolly Dimples animatronic in some of the restaurants. He had all the same movements that Dolly Dimples was capable of, except for her chest movements. That wasn't enabled in the programming for Artie. A shiny blue tuxedo was his signature look, but there's a few differences between different models of the animatronic character that were created. When Artie was first debuted, his antlers were actually made of wood, but they experienced some issues after his first year performing. The character would often stop suddenly, and the pressure of the rough movement resulted in the wooden antlers breaking. Now, back in the early 80s, a company by the name of Riordan Co. created a lightweight polyurethane banjo used for Jasper T. jowls. Now, they actually used to use a real banjo for Jasper, but the weight of it added extra pressure to the animatronic.
That one's scary right
caused
there.
the figure some problems.
Mustache over here.
So Riordan Co.'s polyurethane banjo solved that issue. Well, the company was called up once again when Artie's antlers began to break. So Riordan Co. created a lightweight styrofoam antler for the character. And apparently, none of these new antlers antlers ever broke. Another difference seen in Artie's appearance was his nose. Originally, it used to be black, but then the company removed the nose tip in favor of more prominent nostrils, which better resemble the moose. Now, Artie only had one show tape created since in 1982, the company decided to give Dolly Dimples that second show tape instead of Artie. With this decision, the company decided to create yet another character as an alternate to replace either Dolly or Artie. BB Bubbles. The next
Baby
cabaret
Bubbles.
character to be featured was a pink circus elephant
It's a
who
tongue
sang
twister.
in a really high-pitched voice.
Ew.
She played the piano and sang what Pizza Time Theater described as a saucy and sultry
Slinky hair?
selection of songs. BB Bubbles was retrofitted from Artie Antlers or the Dolly Dimple animatronics, depending on the location, since not all locations switched from Dolly to Artie. She was introduced into Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater in late 1982 to early 1983. But was extremely rare and only placed in a handful of restaurants. Her original movements were the usual eye, mouth, and head movements, as well as arm movements.
So her nose will move
piano.
too?
There was one other movement unique to BB Bubbles, which was the trunk movement.
Okay.
During the animatronics retrofitting, they reused Dolly Dimple's chest movement for BB's trunk, which allowed it to move back and forth. BB Bubbles was the last cabaret piano bar player to be installed at the restaurants,
Right.
before Pizza Time Theater went bankrupt and was purchased by Showbiz Pizza Place in 1984. By the time concept unification came around and was completed in 1992, all the cabaret acts officially
Year I was born.
became extinct. The Little Shavers. In 1981, Chuck E. Cheese tested out a new concept in select restaurants, which was an ice cream parlor called the Ice Cream Emporium. It was
Wow.
tested in a few locations on the cabaret stage side of the restaurant. In 1981, the restaurants that didn't have a piano bar act had another cabaret stage act called the Beagles. They were a group of animatronic dogs, which we also mentioned in part 1 of Extinct Animatronics. Well, the ice cream parlor test brought along a set of very rare characters into the restaurants called the Little Shavers. They were
The hell?
retrofitted out of the Beagles animatronics and were a barbershop quartet made up of 4 members. Their names are actually inspired by Pizza Time Theater founder Nolan Bushnell. On the far left, we have O. Nolan holding the shaving cup, Curly sitting in the chair with the towel draped over his chest, McNolan holding the broom and dustpan, and
The
lastly,
fuck?
Nolan at the bottom right. Now, all the little shaver characters were able to move their heads, bodies, and
Why did that
mouths,
tall one
but
look
the
creepy?
movements were
Oh,
rather
dude.
limited. They made their first debut at the Carrollwood Villages Pizza Time Theater in Tampa, Florida, and were also placed in the Brandon, Florida, and San Antonio, Texas Ice Cream Emporiums. Now,
Wow.
there's very little known and documented about the Little Shavers
Mhm.
and the ice cream parlor test besides what we just mentioned. So it's probably safe to say that they didn't last for too long at the restaurants before they were cut from
I
the
bet.
animatronic lineup and became extinct. The
Aw.
Warblets. Now, these characters were mentioned in part 1, but what wasn't mentioned was the variation of the Warblets, which looked like a completely different set of characters. So when the Warblets first debuted, they were black.
I think I said this was a
singing
part
crows, but
2
later
to
on in their
the Chuck E.
existence,
Cheese
there's a
animatronic
rainbow
malfunctions,
variation.
but
These
it's
birds
not.
appeared more
I
as
just
a
noticed
human, animal,
this far in.
hybrid character, like the other Chuck E.
It's actually the
Cheese characters
extinct
at the restaurants. Their
animatronics.
movements were very basic and would rock back and forth and move their mouths while providing the backup vocals for the band. During the late 80s, with the construction of the rocker and C stages, the Warblets flew the coop and became extinct in the restaurants. Today, a pair of Warblets can be found at Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Wow.
The Pizza Cam. Although not completely extinct,
With their
Pizza
cam.
Cam is a rare character to be seen in the restaurants. He was able to be found on the 3 stages, which were originally the Showbiz Pizza Place locations that got converted during concept unification. Pizza Cam appears beside Pasqully using the Looney
That's
Bird
his name,
animatronic
Pasqully.
from the Rock-afire Explosion Band at Showbiz Pizza Place. He's a blue TV camera with a lens for a nose and a mouth that moves. He'd be housed in a speaker box that was beside Pasqually's drum set, and would pop up sometimes singing background vocals and would also occasionally introduce segments. Now, over the years, the locations that had a Pizza Cam animatronic began removing the character and the speaker box from the 3 stage
That's kinda
due to them
dope.
being in poor condition. Apparently, the latex mold for the Pizza Cam had been discarded by CEC Entertainment and was no longer available to create new molds. So as of today, it appears that only 3 locations still have a working original blue Pizza Cam, but you can see they aren't in the best condition. The locations
Wow.
that appear to have the working Pizza Cams are Richmond, Virginia, Wilmington, North Carolina, and Laurel, Maryland.
Wow.
A couple other restaurants have a working pizza cam, but a new plastic black mold has been created for the character. The restaurants that appear to have the black plastic pizza cam are Huntsville, Alabama, Madison, Tennessee, and Roanoke, Virginia.
Pasqully
it's only a matter of time until the pizza cams are fully removed and become extinct from the restaurants. But considering how many restaurants still have a pizza cam versus how many Chuck E. Cheese locations there are, most people will never see this character when visiting one of the restaurants.
Because it's behind cam.
For a lot of people, you can really consider this animatronic extinct. Munch's Make-Believe Band. Now, depending on the Chuck E. Cheese location
Munch is the
you
purple
go in,
one.
some of the restaurants got an update to the Studio C stage in the 90s, which just had the Chuck animatronic. So like we mentioned in the past Part 1 video, the other band members have already become extinct at some locations. In August of 2017, CEC Entertainment announced that select stores would receive a new test concept. It would remove the animatronic band members in favor of a large dance floor and the frequent appearance of their live costume characters.
Wow.
Now, just to recap, Tom Leverton, CEO of Chuck E. Cheese's, said that the animatronics have become the sideshow, and the kids stopped looking at the animatronics years and years ago. But do you guys think that that's true?
No.
Now, this overhaul has already been carried out at the San Antonio, Texas location, and is set to take effect at 6 more of the restaurants in the chain. If these tests do go well, there's a good possibility that all stores would receive the new concept.
Rest in peace, animatronics.
The Chuck E. Cheese animatronics will take their final bow, become completely extinct, and go down in the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic history books.
Aww.
So, what's your opinion on this recent new look of the restaurants, and a possible removal of the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics in all the restaurants? And if you could bring back or save one character, either from the extinct animatronics or the current band members, which would it be? Leave a comment down below and start a conversation. Thanks so much for watching. Click the TPM icon on the screen to subscribe to this channel, and check out some of the...
Honestly, the short story I was going to say is I actually have an interview at Chuck E. Cheese on the 6th of February, so fingers crossed I get it. And I went there, and the Chuck E. animatronic is still there, so I just wish they didn't change how he looked. But, hey, time flies. You got to change with the generation. Anyway, if you guys like my reaction, do me a favor, hit that like button below, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications for me, and it'll come to you also and let me know which one is next. I got you. #RN. I'll see you guys in the next reaction video. Peace out.